Hello. Hi, Yasser. Hi, everyone.
Let me turn on my mic.
Okay. Tell me when we go live.
Yeah, can you hear me well?
Yes. Can hear you very well.
I see. It's funny that on YouTube there was a little bit delay.
Okay. I see now one person already left us.
Okay. So let's give it a few minutes and wait for some other people to join. Can everybody hear us clearly?
This is the first time we ever tried that. So just curious if everyone can hear us. I think should be fine. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too. Okay, great. Now we have an audience who said yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Marcel.
Okay, and Global Bean. Hi, Global Bean. Hi, Marcel. Okay, now we have FP join us. Hey, hello guys. So today we are going to talk about how small daily money habits can have a huge impact in your financial future. Or what I wrote is like to make a big dollar sign.
Yeah,
It's
often that small monies will accumulate, and at the end it will have an impact on your life. So start small.
Now I have a few questions prepared for you.
Oh, you are prepared?
I'm not prepared, but I have a few
Okay.
spontaneously some questions for you, and also the audience. You guys can also write all your questions or discussions, your opinions in the live chat, so we can have some interaction. Okay, let's talk about big three, because we talk about.
Hi, Mark. Mark from Leontech.
Oh, Mark.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so guys, save your money from your daily expenses, and then later on you can contact Mark.
Yeah, he will structure anything you like. Mark is the awesome guy at Leontech. Whatever idea you have, he will have an investment product and solution for you. It's really awesome. I work with him on a daily basis. He's a very smart guy. Awesome to have him here.
Yeah, nice to have you, Mark. So let's talk about the big three, as you mentioned in the past. What are the big three for some people who have never heard about this term?
Okay, so yeah, the big three, it sounds like a safari, the big five, right? But the big three is actually the three largest expenses that people occur in their lives. One is housing, the other one transportation, and the third one food. And if you would like to have a leaner life, save more money, and do something better with that money, you should start by tackling the big three. So optimize how you spend money on housing, food, and transportation. That's the big three.
And when you say housing, it includes everything revolved around like where you live, like a Wi-Fi, internet, or food.
Yeah, housing
not
can
food,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, food not, but
Yeah.
housing, you can look at it as either you have a mortgage or you have a rental contract, right? And then around that you have some fees that will be incurred if you have some contracts that or like the heating, all these bills. And in warmer countries like Singapore, you have air conditioned bills. So it just really depends how you, it's like a nesting kind of thing. If you figure out ways how to save more, how to be more frugal, you have much more free available money. And yeah, which will allow you to save more and then later invest more, of course, and then find people like Mark. Even though he says he's not a magician, I believe sometimes he is.
And can you give us some examples of how some small daily expenses could make a huge difference in the future? Some interesting examples from your daily life, from people you know?
Okay, well, there's these, you can actually accumulate everything into a big sum. And my favorite example is usually the $1 per day. It sounds like nothing, but if you save that $1 every day, it's $365 a year, and more than $700 in 2 years. And then you start to invest it, maybe with 7 to 8%, maybe 10%, depending on in what you put it. And then it starts to accumulate, and you will be surprised by how big of an amount this sum will grow after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And the longer you have time for that, the bigger of an impact it will have on your financial well-being. And of course, other examples, $1 a day is a little bit like cliche. Some people talk about some friends that go to coffee shops every day. They go to Starbucks, they spend $5 a day to get caffeine, right? Some of them even twice or 3 times. And it could be a lot of things, habits that people have that you could change and then save more. It could be as simple as where you get your hair cut. For me part, you don't see I'm almost getting bald here in the back, but I'm cutting my hair myself. I think it's not too shabby, and I spent like $50 to get a hair trimmer, and I can do my hair trimming anytime I want. And in Singapore, you will probably spend like 20 Singapore dollars for a haircut. In Taiwan, it's a little bit less. In Switzerland, it's up to 40 Swiss francs that every month I can save. So that's a concrete example. And if you put that away and invest it, it makes a huge difference. And I even wrote a blog post about that, the $1 million haircut, I called it. And some people then argued and say, yeah, everyone can say that about anything in life. You can compound any habit, the dollar, the Starbucks, whatever. I said, yes, you can. So he actually used that as an argument to say that doesn't work. And I say the more of these things you do, the quicker you will reach your goal, whatever your financial goal will be. So that's the power of daily habits.
And you talk about this $1 per day, and I calculated it. So let's imagine initial deposit is 0 and yearly deposit 365. So $365. What would be the usual average investment return?
Well, assume maybe 8, or let's say 10%. That's simplification. I mean, the last decade was extraordinary, but we can assume it over the long term. Maybe you could be able to, if you put it in an ETF, in an index, maybe you can look at 10%, just for simplification.
Let's put a conservative percentage.
Okay, 8.
8 is conservative. Okay, so if I put 8%, 10 years. So after 10 years, your initial investment would be your total investment would be $3,650. right? 10 years.
Yes.
And then the future
Yes.
value with compound is 5,287. So
You see,
it's
you almost doubled it.
16%.
You almost doubled it.
80%.
And now if you calculate for 20 years, you can see how much more that is, right? And the longer you have, the smaller the actual contribution gets compared to the final amount, the future value that you can get from that.
Let me see if I can share the screen here. Can people see my screen?
I can see you.
Give me a second. Chrome tab. Let's see if it's shared.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah.
Okay. So this is 10 years. Yeah. Let's try 20 years. So 10 years is 5,287. So
yeah.
Okay. So actually 20 years is more than double, because 20 years, if it's 5,000 something, 20 years would be 10,000 something, but actually it's 16,000 something.
Yeah. You double your money. And of course, that's $1 a day that we calculate here. So it's very small. And just imagine you make it $10 a day, $20 a day, $50 a day. I mean, I know a lot of people who easily have the potential to save $50 a day. It's of course, you don't have to be super frugal all the time, but I know a lot of colleagues who go eating out in restaurants every single day. They have the coffee out and so on. If you calculate how much actually you spend every day, it's tremendous. And maybe this Corona time gave us all an opportunity to reflect how much more money you probably have if you work from home as compared if you go out. If you do your own coffee and so on, you will see a big impact.
And recently, like yesterday, I published this blog post, also got inspired from the book you recommend me, Your Money, Your Life, that people think the hourly wage is, for example, $50 per hour. But in reality, after deducting all the work-related expenses, it's less than half.
Yes, yeah. That's something a lot of people underestimate, I have to say, right? You go to work, maybe for banking. I used to work in banking. If you work in banking, you have to wear a nice suit. You probably have to use some perfume. You have to have a stylish haircut. I wouldn't have dared to cut my own hair back then. And so you have to have a certain appearance. And then you probably will go to an office that is in a high-cost area. Downtown Singapore is usually the CBD, the Central Business District. There, automatically, all the price levels are higher. You have to commute, so you have to save the time, or think of the time that you spend to go to the office and go back. So let's say you start working at 8 in the morning. Maybe you have to leave your home at 7, right? And then the commuting time until you get back, you probably think if you think in our salary terms, you probably you have to include from 7 o'clock until maybe 7 in the evening until you're back. So it's not a 9 to 5, it's a 7 to 7, which is 12 hours. And then you have to offset all these costs that just you need to spend, you're forced to spend to fit in. And that, of course, depends on your profession. Anyone with other profession might have other expenses occurring, right? So it really depends. But all these things at the end, if you think, oh, my hourly salary is $50, if you look at what you actually really get away from that, from your time and your effort and all the side costs, very often it will be roughly half, right? Yase is about half the price, the salary.
I think the fixed cost is there because if you earn 5,000 per month, 8,000 per month, if you spend $10 on lunch, the majority of the junk is there. Unless you earn substantially more, then of course in proportion your hourly rate will not be 50%, maybe 80% or 70%. But in general, I did the calculation for 4,500 monthly income. and then it will be slightly less than half after deducting all the expenses.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and if you have other options or compare, sometimes maybe you have another job that is closer to your home where you live, you have a faster commute, maybe it's worth it to consider that if you can save the time, right? So you have to think a little bit out of the box. And the book you mentioned, Your Money or Your Life, I really like at how the end, the final conclusion is, I want to have both. I want to have my money and my life, right?
Yeah, like the proposed answer in this book is, I will take both. Thank you. I think that's very interesting. And well, I want to ask you, like, is there some positive, like good examples from people around you or what you have done in the past on the big three?
Well, big three, there's a lot of potential you can optimize for housing. When you are young and you have a very big housing bill, you can consider, like I have a friend, he was very smart and he got a housing allowance from his first company and he got sent to Seattle in the US. And what he did is he used his housing allowance, he got it into his bank account anyway, to actually get a mortgage. And he bought a house with 2 bedrooms and he rented out one of the 2 and he lived in the other one. So basically the company started to pay his mortgage payments. And after 10 years, the mortgage was almost non-existent anymore. He did a little extra payments once in a while. But at the end, the house appreciated and somehow he house hacked. This is what you call house hacking. You can also do that differently, right? You don't have to buy the house. You can find roommates. You can, if you're young and flexible, you can move in together. What we did also, we used to rent out one of our extra bedrooms. So we had an extra rental income. And the rental income itself was actually covering the mortgage interest. So you can say if we own a place and we have an arrangement like that, you actually live for free. Of course, you have capital that is bound, but cash flow wise, you actually pay from one pocket in your other pocket.
Yeah.
So that's for housing. And there's many more. You have people who do Airbnb and things like that. So you can, if you are eager to rent out like an extra room to complete strangers every once in a while. So we have some friends from Taiwan that rent out their house sometimes to like tourists that come to see Switzerland. And that one also can be tremendous because you can be like your own hotel. And then you just have to be a little bit innovative. And if you do like 1 or 2 of these things, you actually lower your bill a lot. And therefore you increase your free cash flow. That's for housing. And then you have other things like for transportation. If we talk about the big three, one of my former bosses, he was a managing director at UBS, very successful guy. And he chose to commute by car from a very nice area where he lived in Singapore to the office. And in Singapore, a lot of people, they are used to take the taxi, the cab to go to work. So what he did is he signed up with Grab, which is like an Uber, and he offered this ride to other people. So a managing director of UBS was actually helping others to commute. And then they paid him the $20 they would otherwise give to the taxi driver on the way to work and on the way back from work. So this $40 was more than enough to cover his monthly parking lot fee and the fuel. And therefore, even he chose to drive by car if he was okay to have some other share, how you call that? You share your ride, car sharing, pooling, you can call it. It actually helps to lower your expenses.
Yeah, and also I guess for him, there's not much to let go of because anyway, he's driving back home and is on the way. So he might as well pick up someone for 10, 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not like he would have used more time to get this money or do something super frugal. He just optimized what he wanted to do anyways, and that's how he added some cash flow to his pocket. And for the third one, maybe food-wise, there's so many things you can also do. You can go extra frugal, but you don't have to, right? You can cook your own food, bring it to the office. You can, in Singapore, you can go to hawker centers, which is a cheaper solution as restaurants. You can always optimize, and you can share the meals as well. Let's say you have a couple of friends at work. At the moment with Corona, maybe it's not such a good solution, but let's say you are 5 guys. You can decide Monday is my day, Tuesday yours, Wednesday yours, and then every day somebody else cooks in one go for all the 5. And then you actually 4 days a week, you get a free meal, and 1 day a week, you use your own time to cook something and prepare. And then, you don't have to do it every day, right? So maybe some people also enjoy a little diversity over lunch and getting to know new people. But things like this, you just have to be a little innovative, and you can optimize a lot to save more money.
And it actually reminds me of the story when I was in Singapore. One of the colleagues, she actually prepares salad, I think once a week. And since she's going to make it anyway, she makes a very big portion. And what she did is she actually like sell it to the other people. The other people can order salad from her like a day or 2 days in advance. So in a way, she doesn't need to waste her food, and she can buy in bulk. And for the other people, it's also cheaper than buying from a restaurant to take away.
Correct. Yeah, correct. What we do, for instance, I like to bake my own bread. We have a dough mixer, like a machine, food processor some people have at home. You have some flour, an easygoing recipe. You put in the ingredients, let the machine do the work, and then you let the dough raise overnight. And the next morning, when you get up, you put it in the oven, and like 40-50 minutes later, you have fresh baked bread. And the total cost is maybe $1 or less, versus maybe $3.50 to $4, at least in some places, for a similar comparable loaf of bread. And you don't have to go out in the morning to the shop, so you save your time, which you probably have to put in a little bit with preparation, but net you are very well off with that.
I think the other thing we need to pay attention to is that we have to look at it the way that not just purely for saving more money, but also how to save your time from achieving the same results, like haircut. It's not just about saving the money from the haircut. It's also about you don't have to make an appointment, you don't have to go there, you don't have to come back home, you don't have to wait. All this time you can actually use it for something else. Okay, back to your money, your life.
Well, for the haircut especially, I mean, I nothing against haircutters. I know some very, very good haircutters, right? And talking like this is almost like taking away some of their business eventually. But in some places you have to make an appointment, and then even you go there on time, maybe they are not ready, and it's like if you go to a doctor. Doctors are similar, right? You tell them you can come at 4 o'clock, they give you 4 sharp, and then you reach the clinic at 4, and they let you wait until 4:30, right? And then finally it's your turn, and then so with the commute and everything together, it's maybe more than an hour that easily goes away. And for me, a haircut takes 5 to 10 minutes. I can do it in my bathroom. I can do it even when I travel if I take the machine on. So very flexible.
Yeah, I like to ask the audience here's the question to you guys. What are the daily spending habits that you think you have, but you can actually avoid it? So what are the daily money habits that you have right now, but now after hearing all the good ideas that you think, oh, you can actually either reduce it or eliminate it?
Let's see if somebody is daring enough to write to us. Don't be shy. We will not bite your head off.
After I asked this question, some people left the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nowadays, since most people work from home, I think that can save a lot from like lunch, transportation, unnecessary spending. Like, for example, in Singapore, whenever you go to a MRT station, you have to pass by 100 shops.
Yes, that's all money eating traps, tourist traps.
Yeah. And before you reach the MRT on the way back home, you probably pick up something along the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Other spending habits, maybe aside from the big three, I see people that dream of getting wealthy. They dream of getting rich. But how they invest it, they don't put the money aside and invest it, but they take the money and buy, for instance, think lottery tickets, right? Maybe you also know some people like that. And a lottery ticket, I once really read a lot of detailed research about that. What is it? I came to the conclusion it's nothing else than like if you go to the movie theater to pay for a movie. It's a ticket that allows you to dream that your life could be a millionaire. And some people, they feel good about playing the lottery because who knows, maybe they can strike it rich, right, one day, and they keep doing it. Some people even have this developed as a habit. And one of the things that I'm really stoked sometimes is you see this money going out all the time for these guys. Some people call it like a poor man's tax. If you would actually take this money out and invest it, the difference is amazing. It's much more than the $1 per day that you mentioned before. And a lot of people don't see it. And then second, let's say if you are really, really lucky enough, some people do win the lottery. So suddenly a huge windfall, $1, $2, $3, $10, $20 million come into your bank account. People who are not ready for that, they will be very fragile, and the money will come in and go out very, very fast. And some of them get even depressed because there's also research saying that after like 5 years upon winning the lottery, a lot of them go bankrupt. So they inflate their lifestyle. They kind of think, now I earned it, I deserve to spend money. And later when they go back to zero, I think they would even be lucky if they go to zero and not below zero. Some people, they have newly found debt. They will keep financing their lifestyle, maybe also bring other people on board, extend the lifestyle inflation to dependence, right? So you have maybe suddenly a more expensive girlfriend for boys, and money coming and go out. And suddenly when the money is used up, what then, right? You never learned how to money. You don't know how to money. So if you get a lot of money and you don't know how to money, then that's it. If you go back to zero, you still haven't learned it. So lottery is a little bit like a heroin shot or like a drug addictive problem, and it's not really the right way to get wealthy. Some of the people can get wealthy, but you have to be prepared. That's why I say if you want to get on the right track to build wealth and to get wealthy, you rather learn it small, with small amounts, build your habits around it, and keep going. Let time do the job in the long run.
Yeah, I really like what you say, like let time do the job. I will be interested to share another calculation. I mean, because in the end, whatever we talk about here is you try to cut some of the expenses that is not necessary, but you put the money in investment, right? So
yep.
Let me see. Okay, now I come in here. Let's do another example of the scenario that we use the money that one working person can save from, I don't know, change some of the habits. And then let's see how much it will be in the future if he invests this amount. So early on, we talk about, I don't know, like a lunch. I think in Singapore, people even spend $20 on lunch sometimes, like fancy
more,
place. Yeah, or more every single day.
More, yeah.
Yeah. And then
there you have people, they take the taxi in the morning. I know people, they spend $20 to go to office. Then they they spend maybe 2 times $5 for coffee. So you're at 30, then maybe a $30 business lunch, right? Then you're at, and later another coffee and bubble milk tea in the afternoon, and drive back. you're at $100 per day, right?
Exactly, yeah. But if the
Before
person,
you know it.
but if the person cut it to 50, imagine like you just take public transportation, it's amazing on time in Singapore, and then
Yes.
you eat still healthy place or with good food, or just avoid all this coffee break. And since everybody gets a coffee machine in the office, I think someone can easily save, let's say, 30 per day easily, right?
Yep, I think that's very doable for many people.
So 30 per day, let me see. In a year, how much would it be?
Thank you, Ismail, for your comments.
So 30 per day, oops, times
10 euros for a haircut is not too expensive, Ismail. And that's good. And the Turkish guys, they are usually very efficient. I also love to go to the Turkish hair salons. They usually have 3 or 4 guys working there, and they're very quick, and you don't have to make an appointment first.
Okay, come to Ismail. Okay.
Okay, so you were calculating how to say when you save how much?
$30 per day. I just make it easy, 365 days. So it's 10,950 with 8% return. In 30 years, the person would already be a millionaire.
Oh, you see?
This is amazing. Yeah. So let's change some of the parameters and see if still make a huge difference.
That's exactly the latte factor, right? Some people they don't care about that, and they spend, and yeah, there is a lost millionaire.
So
another one lost.
Unless another lost million could be. Okay, so the latte effect, imagine if just do one action per day, that's difference is safe on the latte, $5 per day. And then make it $365 just for the easy calculation. Just this one single habit. Let's see. What is it in? Oh, here you go, 206,000.
Yeah. With this amount, you can buy a nice holiday home in Thailand, or you can retire in some places even with that.
Yeah.
Panama has a pensionado program. If you want to retire in Panama, you just need like $1,000 of confirmed monthly income, and this kind of amount can easily put you there. Of course, you cannot come back, and I'm not suggesting everyone should do it, but this is just a thought, right? So with saving your latte or whatever, you have another retirement loss, or imagine what you can do with that otherwise.
But how can you help people to see it differently? Because some people might say, oh, it's just $5, or another day they spend on something which is not necessary. Oh, I think just $10 one time.
I think this chart, like we calculate here, is an eye opener, because if you just tell some people the problem, I can be a very big pain in the ass for some people to tell them not to do it, right? But if they listen or not, that's each and everyone's choice. And a lot of people maybe don't care. I think a lot of people, they also think I should just earn more, which is also a good way, right? So money is not just about how much you can save, because on the saving side, you have a cap. You cannot save more than 100% of what you earn. So you're limited. So if you are more focused on earning more money and push on that side, it's fine, right? But then you have to see what is lost. You still have to save something. And the problem I see very often then is people who earn more and ever more, they will still not take care of putting money aside. So there, I think it's a very fine line. And if you show what else you could be doing, what is the wealth building trick, like in what do you put it? In real estate? Do you pay off a mortgage? Do you invest in ETFs? Do you have like a saving plan, a fund plan or something? It really depends, right? But people, when they see graphics like that, I think a lot of them will be impressed by real life examples.
Yeah.
And then I think ultimately the big thing will be not just the money amount, but if I put it together and say how much shorter you actually have to work if you start to do that.
I see.
you use your lifetime.
Oh, Ismail said, cannot see the parameters.
Can this be increased? Oh,
yes,
wonderful. We can. Yes, we can.
So our assumption is that $5 per day, if someone is spending on latte, and then he changed this small habit, and in a year he would have saved 1,825. And then if he put this in investment with 8% return, so in 30 years it would already turn into $206,000. Even 20 years, let's see, just a small habit change.
Yeah.
No, it's more
80,000.
Yeah.
And you see that the money more than doubles already. So
exactly. And we talk about these small habits. I don't think buying a coffee from a coffee shop versus if you bring coffee from home or you drink coffee from the office would have a huge impact on your happiness level or quality of life. But it could be for some people.
Well, yeah, don't get this wrong, right? We're not saying you're not allowed to have coffee outside anymore. This is simply, if you can maybe have one coffee or two coffee outside, but save the other three. You don't have to do like all in or all out, right? I think it's finding a balance and then make it work for you. Yeah. That's also, I like to say everyone's financial plan is very personalized. And sometimes when people just go very extreme and say, I forbid you to do this or that, I think that's also not the right thing. But this really shows the power of how to make money work for you and how to save. And
earlier on, you talk about not just about how much the money can be in the future, but also about how many years you can save from working, right?
Yes,
so I want you to ask on that. So can you give us example of how would it work? Yeah.
Well, I know some people, they have kids in private schools. I mean, Singapore is very big for that. And if you choose, okay, this is maybe a luxury problem. I really call it a luxury problem. But some private schools in Singapore, they charge $40,000, $50,000 even per kid and per year. If you have two kids, it's almost 6 digits, right, that you have to spend because your neighbors do it and the other guys also do it, your friends do it, and that's the best school anyways. That's what we do. And if your kids are in this school for 10 years or more, it could be more, right, 12 years maybe, and then university, you just, without even compounding, you have 12 times 100,000. And then if you add compounding, it will be 2 million plus. It will be 2 million plus. This is an extreme, I'm sorry, that's like a luxury problem issue, but this is why sometimes some people, they just feel because they are doing and these people are doing, this is normal. So my blog is called Financial Imagineer because I think you should redefine or rethink normal. You should break out of what is normal. And if you spend a little bit time and adjust here and there, you will be surprised what it can be. So if you have your yearly deposits 100,000, 10 years you're at 1.4, right? And this is not even taking into consideration. Oh, Ismail, give us a formula. Yeah. So this one is not taking into consideration inflation, because I think one of the highest inflated expenses in the last few years was education. Maybe the biggest inflation was in the US. If you just look at what a college education costs you, and if you see how many people have student loan debts because they still go after these degrees, it's just amazing how much money is spent there. Yeah, indeed. I think numbers are very powerful because if you don't see, if you don't calculate it and put it down on the paper, you don't actually know what is the impact of one small spending, like a coffee or take a Grab to work or just once a while or something. Yes. And now you see future value 1.5 million. If your kids go to the normal school, what could you be doing if you have 1.5 million in 10 years? This is 10 years only, right? This is not 20 years.
Yeah.
If you have that salary for these kind of people, it's amazing. And they can actually buy their own freedom if they save that kind of money.
That's 10 years. 20 years would be even more crazy. 4.5 million in 20 years.
Yeah. With this money, you can pay your kids not just an education. You can actually invest in their businesses and help them to make their businesses blossom after a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're really talking about the big money.
Oh, hello. We have a new.
Hi, Dan.
How's a new participant?
Yes.
Dan the Wise. Okay.
Kind enough to introduce. Happy to see you, Dan.
And so just to recap of what we talked about earlier, we discussed all the small daily expenses, how it could, if we invest this money, investment could result in a big lump sum in the future. So, but my question is, a lot of people might ask you, how would I know I can get 8% return? Maybe I would lose all my money.
Oh yeah, investing is very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. A lot of people have this mindset also, but the problem there is you have to stay the course. You have to, of course, understand how to invest, but if you give it more time, and the biggest problem is usually managing yourself. So for investing, you are your own biggest enemy. A lot of people are impulsive. They're emotion driven when it comes to investment. So the biggest two emotions that rule the world's capital markets are fear and greed. So whenever things drop, people are very much afraid of what could happen, and not too often people they sell at the worst point in time because things go down, and then they stay on the sidelines. They see how the market recovers. This year, again, it was a very special year, right? 2020, but you have March, what happened. And then I think the central banks are just extremely speedy this time. They jump in, they help, and the market actually recovered very fast. And September, October, you see how they get back, and now even higher than at the beginning of this very crazy year. Of course, every time is different. It's never the same, but while history does not repeat, it rhymes. I have to say that, right? So, and if you stay the course over the long run and you can manage your own emotions, so that's why I say it's dangerous. You are your own biggest enemy. You have to manage how you look at it and how you react to news. Also, investing is something, it's not trading. Some people confuse the two. Trading is you see news, you try to be smarter, you try to take action. Some people are good at that. You can also make money like this, but you can also lose if you're wrong. But if you talk about investments and you have a good plan, a long-term plan, and you stay the course, that's the disclaimer here, you stay the course, then you should have 8% over time, right?
Let me also blow up a chart here.
Okay. Oh yeah, let's look at the Standard Poor's 500.
That's what you mentioned, like stay in the course. Over a long period of time, you are actually, there's a dip, but if you don't do panic sell, you don't do anything, you just do what you're supposed to do, and then it will be fine.
Correct, yeah. You can even click on the maximum there, and then you see, when you click on max, you see how these blips over time appear smaller and smaller. At the end, it's just, here, it's maybe not a logarithmic chart, but it will more resemble a line. And the longer you look at it, and
let me see 1 day. Okay.
Yeah, 1 day.
Days, 1 month, 6 months. You see, if you look at year to date, actually, it's also more or less the same from beginning till the end. Only until you see 1 year, 5 years, then you really see the big difference.
Yes. And of course, now if somebody say it's dangerous, if you put your money in at 2007, all of it, and then you get scared in 2009, you pull out, then there are some people, they say, I never want to invest anymore in my life, right? But The thing is to accept that these are ups and downs, and why we have these ups and downs. It's because of human emotion. What is the market price of a stock, or for that matter, of the Standard & Poor's 500? It's nothing else but the accumulated feeling about the future of the economy. And if you go into a recession, everybody gets very pessimistic. If things turn around, everybody gets very optimistic again. And so it's like a mood swing barometer. It shows you how people feel accumulated together.
Mm-hmm.
But the other question you can then ask is, so where do you think will humanity be 10, 20, 30 years from now? Do you think we are so stupid and blow us up? Maybe yes, right, with climate change and so on. But we should actually be smart enough to keep improving, right? So if you think we are not stupid enough to blow our planet up and use it up, then economic growth can be infinite, right? It's not just about selling goods or creating things that you sell. It's also services and much more. Mm-hmm. Which we have seen with I go too much into details now. I think that's not for this talk, right?
I think one of the questions I would want to ask on behalf of the audience is that when you say stay on the course, what are the behaviors or what are the habits that is needed to stay on the course? Yeah.
Very, very simple. If you are young and you save money, so all these haircuts and no coffee and whatever, if the market go down, just keep buying. So let's say you save $100 every month more. If the market goes down, then you get more shares for that $100. So your purchasing power actually goes up. It's like if you go, my wife is very good. She goes to the supermarket to buy Christmas gifts in January.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's when all the Christmas gifts are on discount, right?
Yeah.
And then Christmas will come again next year. So you have Christmas gifts on the side for December. But if you buy it when everyone buy it, then you do something wrong, right? And the same somehow it's with that, right? But if you have a consistent saving plan, investment plan, you put $100 in your investments every month. If the markets go down, you get more shares, more stock for the same amount of money per month than if it's high. And if it gets higher, you still stay the course, but your $100 buys you less units of whatever ETF you have. And over time, this is called dollar cost averaging. You actually have an average price. And because you buy more units when it's cheaper and less when it's expensive, the average will be actually an attractive average that helps you make more money. And that's one side for young people. And then for older people, maybe you can look at the reallocating. So if you don't accumulate your wealth anymore, so you have a big basket of money. So let's say you did that correctly. You're 50 years old. You're sitting on 3 million. If the markets turn down, you should have like some asset allocation cake that you can shift, right? Some people used to like bonds for that. Now the yields are very low. You can look at more defensive stocks versus more aggressive stocks. And then you can do rebalancing. So if the markets take a hit, you sell the more defensive stocks and go into more aggressive ones, and the other way around.
Mm-hmm. And then
you do the same thing.
Okay, so for younger people who are still in their 20s, 30s, so still have 20, 30 years time horizon to invest, how would they be? I mean, what kind of investment should they look into?
If you look at the securities and stocks, now if you look from a holistic view, you should also look at real estate and other things depending on your life plan. But if you look at stocks and securities alone, I think the younger you are, the more you should focus on growth stocks, on indexes, right? You should not look at bonds and dividend stocks. You should grow your wealth. Some young people, when they think, oh yeah, I want to buy this company, it has a 5% dividend yield. Then it sounds more like a stock that is suitable for someone that needs the income, right? And in some places, you have to pay income tax on receiving dividends. So it's actually taking away your purchasing power. The other example is Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. He actually never wanted to pay a dividend. He is using the cash to buy more businesses or buy back his own shares. So you don't get a dividend paid out on which you get taxed, but you actually accumulate the wealth.
So that simple language.
Sorry. Simple language. If you are young, buy things that have the opportunity to grow. So go more risky. But that doesn't mean buy Tesla only or buy SpaceX only or something, but diversify and go into equities and then stay the course.
So when you are still younger, you can have a more slightly riskier portfolio. When you're older, to be in the defensive mode, because you do not have if you lose everything, you do not have the time to make it back, to earn
exactly.
It back.
Yes.
So
lose everything will be hard. But
why lose everything will be hard?
I mean, that would mean you really the stock index never dropped to zero, right?
Index. Okay, we talk about index. Yeah.
Index. Of course, if you buy a single share, it can happen. But if that's also something I would never tell someone just put everything into one share, unless it's your own company. Then I think that's smart because you invest in yourself. But if you put everything in one share, you must have a very high conviction and you have a higher risk. You could be right, you could be wrong, right?
Right. So actually, early on, we talk about daily spending habits. And then the purpose of changing your habits or improve your savings is to put them into investment so they can grow to a bigger sum in the future. And can you explain how this will help people save years from working?
Okay, yeah, sure. So if you just don't do that, you are actually held hostage by the retirement system of your country. And the retirement system of most countries at the moment, they are talking about increasing the retirement age. In some places, it's maybe 60, it will be 65, suddenly they talk about 70. Right? It will go higher. It will go up because people live longer. And if our life expectancy increases, guess what? You need more money because your inactive time will get longer. So you need to prepare your purchasing power for that time. And if you don't do that when you are young, it will get harder and harder the older you get. Right? And if you start very young, you let time do the job, you may be ready by 40 or 50. And then work becomes optional, or you can call it like passion work. But if you like to work, feel free, you can work. But if something goes wrong, you have a plan B, you have a backup plan. And if the government suddenly say everyone has to work until 80, you can say, oh yeah, this is for those who didn't prepare. I prepared, I'm happy. So can you, right? Everyone can prepare. Save,
invest, and actually to prepare yourself to later you can take decision yourself instead of by the government that you have to work till, I don't know, 70 years old or 75, or you can choose no because you have enough money to support you till you die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. And this has directly a lot to do with how many lattes you drink, how many haircuts you get, and how much money you spend when you are young, right? And maybe some things, of course, you have to enjoy, and you can have your own plan how to get there, your own pace, but take care of that money when you are young. Don't start at 50 or 60. It will be too late for time to kick in. It's like when you show before the compounding thing, if you just use 10 years versus 20, 30 years, you don't see that much of a difference.
Yeah, I remember someone told me, it's a way to look at each dollar is that you spend today. It's not you spend $1, it's you spend 3, everything times 3. It's the actual value that you spent.
This is Warren Buffett has this approach as well, right? He thinks compounded, so he thinks in future dollars and future purchasing power, and then he doesn't think this chewing gum cost only $2, but it costs maybe $20 of 20 year later money. And by mindlessly buying the chewing gum for $2, you actually steal from your future self.
Yeah.
So another way is a mind hack is you try to think, what can you do today so that your future self will actually be grateful and thankful for what you did today.
Yeah. And for the audience here who do not know that you reached this stage where you can claim retirement when you were 37. So now a few years has passed. So thinking back, what have you done you think that is essential to help you achieve this financial independence when you're just by the age of 37, not 50 or 60? Like, yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, I had a very good education from my dad. So very grateful for the upbringing. I was lucky, right? Other people maybe don't have that. I started investing when I was 16 years old, and I also paid my dues. I lost a lot of money in the 1990s, the new economy crash. And but then I learned my lessons and I adjusted the course and kept saving. So during my career, we didn't inflate our lifestyle too much, and that allowed us to put money aside. And every month, actually, we used to put away a lot of money that I didn't look at it as the actual dollar amount, but I was thinking of it as how much future cash flow this money can buy. And then it becomes very, very motivating because you try to look at, it's like your own KPI. When you have a job, you think in KPI, how do I reach the goal? So you have to think, if I do this, if I don't drink this latte, if I don't spend the money for the taxi, how much money actually I put to work for myself? How much purchasing power does that give to me? And how much time of my life does it save? And then you do the same thing, calculate it back and see how it compounds.
Yeah, I really agree with you that I think most people, unless your parents are bankers or in the area where they know a lot, then we don't learn this from our parents, or we don't learn it from school. We learn the formula, the theory.
Unfortunately, school, we have very good teachers, right? And nothing against our school system at all, but I think this is something where schools could improve a lot. It's not too much being taught in that area, and it's sad because you learn all kind of algebraic formulas and other things, but you don't know how to fill out the tax declaration. You don't know how to build wealth, and basically the school system is like preparing you for a lifetime of work. So you are getting ready, you get a nice diploma that says you are now a bachelor, master, whatever, and then you can go to, with this paper, you have like an entry ticket for your job that pays you more than others, right? And then once the money comes in, you don't think too much because you see that older people, they're all well taken care of, and that's just that's life. For many people, that's life. And it's maybe also okay, right? You have to have a fulfilling life. You have to contribute. Otherwise, if you do nothing, it's also boring. So you have to think how you want to use your time. Yeah. And if you do this and save your money, you simply give yourself more options.
Yeah, and especially for those younger generations, like 20, 30, or even early 40s, it's really the golden time to educate yourself how to optimize your spending, but of course not sacrificing your quality of life. You still can enjoy your life, just to learn the ways to optimize and learn the ways how you should invest, and then leave it. Stay on the course. Leave it.
Yeah. Also, enjoy life. I mean, it's a little bit like a mustachian kind of thing. If you don't know what is mustachianism, it's like do a lot of things yourself. Like the haircut thing I mentioned before, but in Singapore, I started to learn how to brew my own beer because Singapore has an alcohol tax. And if you go to Singapore, you will be surprised that one can of beer costs you maybe $5 in the supermarket. It's not in a restaurant, in a supermarket.
Yeah.
And I like beer, so I had a problem. So I invested money into my fridge and I learned how to brew beer by myself. And at the end, I pushed down the price for one can kind of beer down to $1 instead of $5. And over time, I got better at it. So it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice. You can actually see it as a challenge, learn something, add some skills, and have fun, explore the world, right?
Also, another thing is to to discover what are the important things that you spend money on that really you enjoy doing, and then you keep that. And then for the others, with or without it, your life still goes on. You don't feel unhappy, you don't feel frustrated. Then those are the things you can actually avoid, or those are the spendings. I think I read this research that the biggest problem among millennials is people treasure experiences more than money, but sometimes they don't find a balance, so they overspend. But they could.
Oh, that's the YOLO effect. You only live once.
I wrote this article, my YOLO experience.
Well, that's the typical trilemma in life is when you are young, your health is good and you have a lot of time, but you don't have money. Then when you enter middle age, you start to have money. You still you're still healthy, but you don't have time, right? Because you work. And then when you get old, you have money and you have time, but you're not healthy anymore eventually, right? So you have to find a balance.
Yeah, exactly. So we have already talked more than 1 hour here.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, time flies. I think there's so much more to cover in the next few sessions. I don't know. What are you guys interested in? Let us know. Are you interested more in like investing, saving, or hacks, or house hacking, or arbitrage, or whatever topics you're interested in? You can write in the comments. And then lastly, one topic we didn't talk about today, but maybe we will talk next session, is about its net worth, how to calculate your personal net worth, and why is this so important. So before we are going to Otium.
Otium. Hi, Tom.
How did you translate the name from @Otium to Tom?
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to send you a link. This is a personal net worth tracker, so you can download it. It's a template for you to use it's free. And if you have questions, you can check out Matthias' blog or my blog. We have some explanations, and also we will cover this topic in the next sessions. I think slowly we can touch on the financial education part. It could be interesting for the audience. So any other interested topics?
Well, I think for building wealth and making money work, it's very simple. Earn more, save more, invest more. And then once you do that right, learn how to manage. And that should be more or less in a nutshell, the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to talk about. Just those. I heard people telling me like, "Oh, these 3 things is very simple. I know it. I don't have to learn. Like, just save, earn, and invest." But there are so many, details and the nuances inside each section. It's about the how, not about the what.
Yeah, you have to walk it, and then you experience it yourself.
Yeah. I think what next we can talk about.
Okay, cool.
Early retirement.
Yeah, philosophy of early retirement. So yeah, prior to this talk, I asked Yase, how should I dress for this YouTube session? And then she said, as long as I still have a shirt, right? So I have a shirt, and even though it's 2020, we have pants. So early retirement, it gives you a lot of freedom, but I think what @Otium means here is probably also how to find your purpose. So I can talk for another hour about the Ikigai concept, a Japanese concept. There's so many things. Like, you have to be integrated somehow. You have to feel valued, right? For some people, if you go into retirement, it's like going off a cliff. You probably spend 30, 40 years of your life working somewhere for someone, doing some things, and suddenly there's this cliff, right? And the cliff means you are not useful anymore for society. And if that happens, some people get depressed. So there's actually some studies that say that if you retire too early, you may have a shorter life. But that's where the Ikigai concept will come in. If you manage to find your purpose, so it's all about purpose. If you get your purpose right, that shouldn't be an issue. But that's maybe something for next time.
Yeah. And also Marcel mentioned side hustles.
Side hustles. Oh yeah. How to yeah, there we can add a lot of things as well.
And then Ismail mentioned that we don't always have much money in the middle age. Unfortunately, if we were unemployed or got part-time jobs or geringfügige Beschäftigungen in the
smaller jobs, right?
Yeah.
So it could be that you don't have your full salary. You don't spend your time at the full earning potential, right? And then how to navigate that.
But that's
that's another.
I think that's the amazing thing about start at a younger age, or if you are not too young, but start now to really know your money and invest. And then even something happened like that, unemployment. Maybe you don't even need the employment anymore.
Yeah, it gives you let's talk about the FIRE movement, right? FIRE, FIRE, it stands for financial independence, retire early, but I like to call the RE part. It could be recreational employment. It could be retire to entrepreneurship. And ultimately, I think freedom to pursue. So that's even more a reason to start right now with making your money work, putting your money work. But I think what Ismail means, what if you think the train has already left the station? What if you're in middle age and you're not there yet, right? So then, of course, don't delay. Use what you have, optimize, right? And then, as hard as it is, I think one exercise I also like to do is when you have a net worth sheet, you go through the net worth sheet, and each and every asset you have there, you look at what do they help you to do, how much money do they help you to earn. And there you might see that you actually have inactive assets. Maybe you have a collection of stamps somewhere in the basement that is worth $50,000. Who knows, right? There could be certain things that you never thought of. And that's one of the first things I would do if I'm in middle age and in a situation like that. Make a balance sheet. It's nothing else than think of it like you are your own company and you are the CFO. You look through item by item by item, and you try to figure out, think of your money like soldiers. What is each and every soldier doing? And then if somebody is not busy, give them a job, right?
Yeah. Oh, this I think you can also talk a lot on this topic.
I can bore you for hours, right? So
let's make a list of topics that people suggested here, and then in the next sessions we can talk about them and give them some ideas.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Very excited for having this talk. Please check out our blogs. You also just show here, you can follow us on Twitter, financialimagineer.com, fasttrack.com, .live, fasttrack.live. Sorry. And we will be back. Write to us, reach out to us. My DMs, direct messages are open. You can find my email on my blog. Happy to connect.
Yeah, and our objective is bring you content and then help you to manage your money well, help you to understand investing, and then hopefully you can build up a sustainable strategy to stay on the course.
Yes, correct. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.